What's good, everybody? I'm BPC and welcome to Competitive Origins MMA. Well, Dustin Poirier has a lot of options after securing a TKO victory in the second round of the main event of UFC 257 against Conor McGregor. Now, like I said, he has a lot of options, about 6 to be exact. Now, the first option is probably going to be the opportunity to face off against Khabib Nurmagomedov for the 155-pound championship of the world. Now, I think that is unlikely, though. See, following the fight, Khabib had basically communicated with Dana White that he is levels above these guys. You know, be serious with yourself, Dana. That's basically what he was at, where he was stating. So I don't quite see Khabib saying he's interested enough to come back to the UFC and defend his championship and go for 30-0. Now, Dana had previously stated that if Khabib were impressed by the performances, he said he was already impressed by Charles Oliveira, but he wasn't keen on facing Charles Oliveira, or else that would have been the next person that he was going to fight. So it was going to be either in the main event or the Conor main event that was going to impress him. And it turns out that, you know, if Conor had got the knockout victory, maybe he would have been impressed, but because Dustin got it, now he's not impressed. I'm not quite sure, you know. And then Michael Chandler, he also got the knockout in basically 2.5 minutes against Hooker, and I guess that didn't impress him either. So at the end of the day, it just looks like, you know, Khabib's going to sail off for the time being until he seems interested and he wants to come back. So probably Khabib, we could say, is not going to be, you know, option number 1 for Dustin Poirier. Now, option number 2 could possibly be Nate Diaz. That's right. Dustin Poirier did say at the post-fight press conference that he would be interested in facing Nate Diaz. Now, if you recall, these two were supposed to face off a while back, and the fight had to be called off due to Dustin's hip. Now, this would probably be the biggest money fight for Dustin Poirier outside of Conor McGregor, so this is definitely a possibility. Now, if you recall, not too long ago, Dana White did say that he was going to be making a return to the UFC and that he has to surprise everybody that's really looking forward to see who Nate Diaz will face off against. So could, you know, Dustin Poirier be that individual? Obviously, when he was talking about it in the past, he wasn't talking about Dustin Poirier, but now the whole landscape has changed, and maybe Dan is seeing dollar signs and he might be interested in having Poirier face off against Nate Diaz. Now, obviously, you know, Dustin Poirier's next fight is going to be for the UFC Championship. So if it were to take place against Nate Diaz, could you really see the UFC putting Nate Diaz in a championship fight? You know, if you recall, his last fight he lost, and that was at 170 against Jorge Gamebred Masvidal for the BMF Championship. So does that mean he's deserved, you know, the opportunity to go fight at 155, even though he's currently unranked as well? I see that as a long shot as far as them putting him in a championship fight, but it's definitely a possibility to make Dustin happy. You know, at the end of the day, the UFC loves dollar signs, so that's always a possibility. Well, number 3 would be Charles Oliveira. That's right. The individual who was able to, you know, dominate Tony Ferguson through 3 rounds. Now, that's obviously a possibility, you know, and obviously, you know, Charles would love to have that matchup with Dustin Poirier, but Dustin was quick to say no. You know, like, I've been beating the top individuals in this class. I need to be fighting for the title. I'm not facing off against Charles Oliveira. He can go fight, you know, the individual that I think is option number 4. Now, I understand where Dustin's coming at. Dustin has beat the top of the top for a very long time, with his only loss coming against Khabib in recent years. So when he says that, he's speaking facts. When you look at Charles Oliveira, you can't say he's been beating, you know, top 5 contenders, you know, for quite some time now. He definitely hasn't. So, you know, he may have a point there. Now, as far as number 4, well, number 4 is Michael Chandler, you know, who just got the TKO victory in the first round against Dan Hooker. Now, Dana White had already came out and said that that's probably the next fight to make between Chandler and Poirier. You know, but Poirier was quick to shut it down and said, you know what, he's not going to come into the UFC and get 1 victory and basically fight for the championship, let alone beat the guy that I just beat. Because if you think about it, Dustin Poirier should have been fighting for a championship belt if all it took was to beat Hooker. But now that, you know, Michael Chandler is able to beat Hooker, now he gets to fight for the championship title, it doesn't quite make much sense there, you know, at the end of the day. Now, has anybody came in, won, you know, their first fight in stunning fashion and then fought for the championship title next? Yes, you know, Anderson the Spider Silva, who came in, dominated his first fight, and then got to fight for the championship belt. So is this a situation where Michael Chandler comes in, dominates, and gets to fight for a championship belt? This could be a possibility. You know, at the end of the day, the UFC is paying him a lot of money, you know, and Chandler has basically stated he's here for a good time, not for a long time. So Dana might be trying to push, you know, Michael Chandler into a championship fight, whether Dustin Poirier wants it, you know? And then you have number 5, Conor McGregor, the trilogy matchup. Now, is there a lot of interest to see these two guys go at it again? Maybe yes, maybe no. I know Dana would like to see it. You know, it would be money in the pockets. You know, typically when Conor gets that L, he usually gets his rematch, with the exception being Khabib, because Khabib didn't want to take part in it. But Dustin Poirier said he is open for the championship, you know, matchup with Conor McGregor, that if he's going to do the trilogy, he would love to have it be for the title. You know, otherwise, I think Dustin Poirier might wait to win the championship belt and then have that trilogy match against Conor McGregor, because then he would be able to cash in on the pay-per-view revenues, you know. But then you have to think about it, you know, is Dana going to put Conor in a championship fight after he just lost the championship fight, or lost this fight and he lost the fight previously? He's 0 for 2 in his last bouts at 155 pounds. So I just can't quite see, you know, Conor going up for the championship belt once again. But one thing I can see happening is you guys at home subscribing to Competitive Origins MMA. If you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button and click the notification bell so you can be notified as soon as these videos go live. And don't forget to ground and pound the like button on this video, please. Now, the last option, number 6, is hot sauce. That's right. Dustin Poirier said, you know, he's definitely not going to fight against Michael Chandler. Michael Chandler can go fight against Charles Oliveira. You know, if that's how it's going to be, he's just going to sit home and sell his Poirier's Louisiana hot sauce. Or sorry, it's Poirier's Louisiana style hot sauce. And I haven't tasted it yet. You know, he's been promoting it a little bit here and there. Conor even like held it up or whatever, so that got him a little bit more publicity for his hot sauce. So that is always an option, that he just sits home and makes his money, kind of like Conor McGregor's been doing with Proper number 12, sitting home and making his money. So those are about 6 different options here. Now, as I reflect on all these different options, what I would hate to happen is that Dustin Poirier basically sit out and not fight for the championship belt. You know, if they end up having Charles Oliveira face off against Michael Chandler, and then one of them gets the title, you know, Dustin Poirier's over here sitting as the odd man out. You know, there was a time when Tony Ferguson, who had already, you know, won the interim title and basically was stripped of it, and basically was offered another opportunity to win another interim title, basically passed on that opportunity, and we know how the story went. He never got to, you know, face off for a championship title ever again. So is Dustin Poirier possibly putting himself in position to where he could lose out on that? Does he just need to bite the bullet and just say, screw it, I'll go ahead and beat whoever they give me, so therefore I can start raking the big bucks? You know, he did cash in a lot of money for UFC 257. You know, reports are stating that he made over $1 million to face off against Conor McGregor. So that's definitely another reason why he'd want to face off against Conor McGregor. But if he had the championship belt, he'd get the Conor McGregor money, the $1 million at least. Plus, when you factor in the pay-per-view revenues, which they're saying, you know, did really great numbers. I'm hearing about 1.6 million pay-per-views, you know, internationally, you know, worldwide, domestically, all together, when it's all said and done, about 1.6. And that could always end up being higher. You know, as they said previously, the Conor McGregor and Cowboy pay-per-view did about 1 million. And then Conor basically showed them up that it did over 1.3 million plus. So there's always a possibility, you know, about the numbers going up from 1.6. And I'm sure Dustin will love to tap in it, you know, down the road with this trilogy matchup. Go into the comment section below and let me know what you think of these different options that I put forth before you guys. Let me know, what do you think is likely and where do you see it going. Don't forget to go to competitiveorigins.com, type in promo code MMA65 so you can get 10% off this Competitive Origins Get It Done t-shirt. Thank you for tuning in today, guys. I'm BPC, and remember, you've been competing since conception. Whether you're competing against yourself or others, Competitive Origins.